Jesse Marsch has been relieved of his duty at Leeds United after just a single year at the club, starting from February 28th till the 6th of February 2022, obviously overtaking fan favourite Marco Bielsa. But if you haven't already, can you go and subscribe to the channel? I love all the subscriptions I've been getting recently. Also, comment below what your thoughts on Leeds this season and where do you think they will place and who will be the next manager of Leeds United. So obviously, like we do every single time a manager gets sacked, we will look at the club's statement, and this one seems to be a very common statement as we see. Leeds United can confirm Jesse Marsch has been relieved of his duties. Jesse joined the club in 2022 and instrumental in keeping the club in the Premier League on the final day of the season. Obviously, his backroom staff has been let go as well. We would like to thank Jesse Marsch and his backroom staff for their efforts and wish them all the best for the future in the process of the next coach is underway, and etc. etc. The usual stuff. Thank you for the future endeavours, etc. 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 Marco Bielsa was also overtaken by Jesse Marsch, and like I say, a fan favourite. So it's always going to be a difficult uphill battle. 37 games in charge, 11 wins, 10 draws, and 16 losses. And it's not like Jesse Marsch has not been backed by Leeds board. Obviously, you got the likes of Aronson, 25 million, Christiansen, 10 million, Rocker, 10 million, Adams, 20 million even, Sinistera, 21 million, Notto, probably the shining spark in this Leeds team right now, only for 4 million. And obviously in the winter as well, spending almost 50 million on Wobber and Rutter, as well as the X-Factor signing of the season probably for Leeds United in Weston McKennie. What went wrong for Jesse Marsch? Well, I think that the fact that he did call out Marco Bielsa from the start, saying they were overtrained and overworked from Bielsa, it really does put him against the fans. It really does alienate Jesse Marsch. I keep wanting to say Marco Bielsa. He said that physically, mentally, psychologically, and emotionally, this Leeds team were broken. They were overtrained. And I think that really does start you off on a bad note, because obviously Leeds fans love Bielsa and you really got to get them on side, because obviously Leeds fans are a very vocal, very opinionative fan base. You can see it on Twitter, on social medias. And, you know, they are a very big fan base in itself. So once you get yourself alienated from the start, especially, you know, the underlying tension here as an American, you don't need that right now. All you need right now is something to cement yourself as a great manager, because obviously he was did well under Salzburg and etc. And under Leeds, you know, you need to really captivate the audience from the start. They kept him up last season, which is obviously another plus sign from the board, another plus sign for Leeds fans. And surely right now, as you can see, this table indicates that they are 17th right now. So you're not entirely in the drop zone, but there was a precedent set from early on in the season, winning a few games at the start of the season. It's just been a steady decline since the World Cup, really, hasn't it? I think that Jesse Marsch's tactics have been found out, and we'll discuss that more in depth in a second. And it seems like they are very one-dimensional. So what were the Jesse Marsch tactics? He usually played a 4-2-3-1, and he usually moves the ball very quickly, very direct, instead of a more possessional-based football. Obviously, 51% possession, which is in the top 10 in the Premier League, so it indicates that they do have the ball, which you could say would be a possession-based football. However, the back four had majority of the play, and it really did add to the chaotic football that Leeds had going forward. Jesse Marsch liked to be very direct, which also creates this sense of chaos. Playing a 4-2-3-1, the front three or four were very fluid, and really, when it clicked, it worked really, really well. However, this direct football really did allow the retention of the football to be very low. And like I say, this chaotic football, as well as the low retention of football, made it very one-dimensional, and teams found it out, whether it was during the game or at the start of the game, especially against teams lower down in the league that used a low block because they have the weaker sides, or, you know, suggested that they don't have a greater possession-based football. Leeds United were found out, and this one-dimensional football going forward was very predictable. So Jesse Marsch's approach going forward was very predictable and very one-dimensional, but was his defensive unit very strong? Well, I mean, the 4-2-4 formation was very akin to the Bielsa team, going for a more genuine press, attacking approach, as well as a counter-pressing style. This meant that the front four pressed very high onto the defence, as well as the wing-backs that allowed the centre-backs to be very isolated at the back, indicating that it's very open and very susceptible for a counter-attack themselves, meaning the defense was very open, the attack was very predictable, and that indicates that both sides of it meant it didn't really work for Jesse Marsch in the Premier League. It might have worked at Salzburg, but for Leeds United in a much better league, a much higher league, it doesn't work, this tactic. So who is going to be next in charge of Leeds United? A lot of people are indicating that Corberán is the fan favourite, as well as the fact that he was the assistant manager under Bielsa. It all screams Corberán, but I'm going to name a couple of others that could possibly be in charge come a couple of weeks' time. We've got Pochettino, as well as Bielsa himself, that could come back. I think that you don't really want to go back to the person that you had before, because it doesn't really work. We know it doesn't work. It worked in the Championship. It doesn't work in the Premier League after one season. And quite frankly, it's very predictable in itself. And look at what Jesse Marsch said. The team was broken. The team was very overtrained. You got the likes of Hassan Hutel, who's out of a job right now, and I think that he didn't really work at Southampton, so why would he work at Leeds? Postecoglou at Celtic is a decent show, but it seems a bit more of a building opportunity rather than one that should be sustainable in the Premier League this season. You could say that Corberán is that sort of manager as well, but with the ties that he had before, as well as the fact that he has a pedigree at Huddersfield as well as West Brom, indicates that he is the clear choice for the next Leeds manager. And I won't be surprised if he, with the fact that West Brom financially are very weak and very susceptible, West Brom fans are probably expecting this, aren't they? So guys, let me know what your thoughts on this video is. Obviously, we know the genuine press of Jesse Marsch's football doesn't work for Leeds United. Who would you like as the next Leeds United manager? Who would you think that would be in charge? And do you think that Leeds United could survive this season? It's very close to the bottom of the league. Like I said, there's only 3 points between the bottom 4. And it could go either way in this Premier League season. There's 16 games or 17 games left of this season to go. A lot of points at stake. And Leeds United have Manchester United, the flying Marcus Rashford, next in the league. So if you guys let me know in the comments below them questions that I did say before, please leave a like. Please can you subscribe as well? I do appreciate all subscriptions. And I will see you all very soon. Cheers, guys.